We are often told that hard work is the primary driver of success, but many people spend their entire lives exerting maximum effort every single day, only to find their living conditions and bank accounts remain completely unchanged. Take Thomas, a 32-year-old night security guard. He spends 10 hours a night on his feet at a warehouse, only to walk home at dawn, exhausted, while the rest of his town is just starting their day. Thomas is stuck in a survival loop. This occurs when every ounce of a person's physical and mental energy is consumed by the basic requirements of staying alive, leaving nothing left for improvement. This graph shows the math behind his stagnation. Thomas is working incredibly hard, but the vector of his effort is pointing entirely toward maintenance. Because there is no upward angle towards skill building or education, he experiences zero vertical growth. Effort alone is just motion. When your labor is dedicated entirely to surviving the next 24 hours, you remain stationary, no matter how much that labor wears you down. The cycle broke on a Tuesday morning when Thomas received an emergency call. His mother had collapsed and was in a village clinic, suffering from the cumulative stress and exhaustion of a life spent in poverty. Standing outside the clinic at 5 a.m., Thomas didn't just feel sad. He felt a focused anger at his own helplessness. He realized that without a drastic change, his mother's past would become his own permanent future. On the bus ride back to the warehouse, he noticed a man named Mr. Chun, a successful local business owner. Despite his wealth, he was on a regular bus at 6 a.m., calmly reading a book. The contrast was impossible to ignore. A man who had already achieved success was using the early morning to build his mind, while Thomas was using those same hours to collapse into sleep. When Thomas asked him for advice, Mr. Chun pointed out the obvious. Thomas was out of sync with the world's productive hours. He was awake when opportunity was asleep, and asleep when the world was doing business. Mr. Chun explained that because Thomas couldn't quit his job, he had to manufacture new time. This required a complete audit of his sleep schedule to find a window for growth that his job couldn't touch. The new architecture was simple. Sleep immediately after work, from 6:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. This 5-hour block provided enough rest to function while reclaiming the afternoon and early morning for his real life. This clock represents the strategy. The dark gray is the warehouse shift, and the blue is the new sleep window. The gold block, from 5 to 7 a.m., is the most important part. It is the period Thomas uses to build his future before the rest of the world starts demanding his attention. Hour 1 is for hard skills. Thomas spent this time at a small table, using his phone to watch free tutorials on data entry and inventory management. This was a period of learning monetizable skills with zero distractions. Hour 2 is for maintaining his physical and mental health. He used 30 minutes to walk and exercise, followed by time spent reading and planning his day, ensuring he was proactive rather than reactive. These 2 hours function as a daily investment. By focusing on his own development before his night shift began, Thomas started building a professional foundation that his current job could never provide. The first week was physically painful. Thomas sat in the dark with burning eyes, struggling to stay awake while trying to make sense of complex software tutorials. His mind constantly looked for reasons to quit, whispering that he was too tired or that he could just start again next week. This is the stage where most people revert to the comfort of their old routines. But around day 21, something changed. Thomas began waking up minutes before his alarm. His body had finally adapted to the new rhythm, and the friction of the early morning began to feel like momentum. The biological resistance is a temporary cost. Once you pay it, the 5 a.m. start stops being a daily battle and becomes a standard part of your day. On day 87, the work paid off. Thomas used his new skills to create an automated inventory sheet for the warehouse. His manager was so impressed that he offered Thomas a new role as an inventory coordinator, a daytime position with a significant pay raise. 1 year later, Thomas is a lead logistics coordinator. He moved his mother into town where she can receive proper care. He still wakes up at 5 a.m., not because he has to, but because those 2 hours are how he continues to grow. The reason this works is simple math. 2 hours a day for a year equals 730 hours of development. In practical terms, that equals 90 standard workdays. By using time others spend sleeping, you effectively gain 3 extra months of progress every year. To start, set your alarm for 5 a.m. and place it across the room. Commit to one specific skill and protect your 9 p.m. bedtime as if your future depends on it, because it does. Thomas's story shows that progress isn't reserved for the lucky. It belongs to those who use the quiet of the morning to build while the rest of the world is still dreaming.